Okay. So that was mental. I've had a quick look at Konstantin's Twitter, and he said that's the most inane or insane one of them. I can't remember what interviews he's been a part of, and I'm thinking he's not met Julia Hartley-Brewer. Um, I feel uncomfortable doing this over it. Just I've made a couple of little notes. My favourite comment ever was after Richard interview was, "Can we press the red button and watch her leave?" um, it feels very uncomfortable to be doing this, like I'm going to break some taboos or something in a way, and just why would anybody want to listen to me? And I did look crazy, right? But I met Lord Bird in the green room, and he's a real hero of mine. The futures and well-being bill that he wants to bring in is just, I wish everybody was reading that they were talking about that on the news. Um, and, you know, I spoke to my mum before I decided to do it, and afterwards, and the last time when I did that one with Richard, I was on the run, right? Like literally I'd been arrested at home, and I was so determined that I was going to sit on the motorway and upset people that I'd grabbed a go bag and was bouncing around London with other people. And obviously my family were furious with me and worried. I was completely out of contact for a couple of weeks. It was just, that period of time was horrible, and my mum was just worried because I had been in a horrible depression following it all. And she was, yeah, as long as I'd be all right. And she said it was really tough to watch that, and it is, it's horrible. Like, if you watch that whole thing and you're feeling uncomfortable, me too. I would like to say, before I tell you about my day, I want to tell you what Ed Balls was doing when I walked in that room, in that studio. But when I joined with Insulate Britain, we decided that we were going to treat these interviews like actions. What do we mean by that? That I'm not trying to be the best debater. I don't think them spaces are set up for that. I'm the villain, regardless of. And it's just not, right? It is entertainment. It's not what I'm craving. What I think a lot of people are craving is, where are these spaces where these conversations that we need to have are genuinely being had with the purpose of reaching a conclusion and working together on it. So it's greasy. I've never liked it. Having been in it, I like it even less. Why do we do it? Back in October 2019, I heard a tiny clip on the news. There were protesters in London. Boris Johnson's calling them crusties. I'm disabled. I was actually just getting over being addicted to sleeping tablets as well. My lovely parents had paid for my garden to be done, so there were gardeners in the garden. My routine was a bit different. I caught that clip and I sat down at my computer. What is this Extinction Rebellion? Long story short, I went to London to see for myself. Next couple of days, I was so anxious. People were really, really lovely. Then I went to a council meeting. One of them councillors said, "We can't tell the truth unless we make it happy. People will get depressed and do nothing." I found that troubling for many reasons, especially when I went into a big depression. And then I just started watching all this really boring stuff, if I'm honest. It's, yeah, I'm reading, and I heard Roger Hallam and Gail Bradbrook, and I watched everything they've ever done, and lots of other people, and I started ranting at them on Facebook, and they replied. And I went along to meetings and met other people, and then I found myself on Good Morning Britain. Right? Now, I don't get paid for it. Right, and that's not me knocking anyone who does. Everything is just greasy. We've got to change a lot. But I'm there because I went to prison, because my friends go to prison, there are friends in prison, and other wonderful people are doing something I couldn't do. I mean, these people doing the JSO slow walks every day, right? I've been doing it every day. for months, and months before that they did it for ages in October. And the violence is increasing, and I do think the media are responsible for that. They do only show people who are angry with us. I personally have had a couple of amazing experiences that I know were filmed by ITV, and some journalist, I don't want to waffle on for ages here, I'm going to tell you about my day. But yeah, my motivation is, that prompted me to look, we're not going to have a rational debate in that space. We spoke to psychologists and stuff, and they're like, maybe facts aren't going to do it. So the people who are saying you need media training, I want to say maybe you need a bit less of it. I did practice an awful lot with people yelling at me and still trying to make some kind of sense, and to just accept that I had to let all of my own ego go, that they're only going to share this if they can make me look stupid, and I've never minded looking nuts to make my children laugh or to protect them. As long as my family and my friends love me, I don't care what other people think about me. Not in a confrontational way, but your opinion of me is none of my business. And nuts, so many of us are really hurting. It's normal under these systems to feel crappy, so I think we just have to talk. And these are the notes. I wrote it down. I did have a plan when I went in, and I'm going to try and share that with you, so let's move along. So yeah, I've had a quick look at Konstantins in the press, and he said if you pay to go behind his paywall, he wants to tell you what. He was surprised at their reaction to something that I said. And I would be interested to know, but I'm not paying. If you want me to know, you're going to have to tell me. I think the best way, I'm just going to tell you what it's like. So I got a call from Good Morning Britain late last night, after 7, I think. And when it came through, I saw that I had a couple of missed calls. Now, it's bad form for me to be picking up that phone and taking it. It's we let the media groups of the activist teams sort out who does what. And if the media can't get a satisfactory response to the question they want answering, and yesterday the question they wanted answering, they wanted somebody who would say, yes, it's okay to interrupt public events. And I think they picked me because I'd been on LBC in the morning. I just called in. I wake up to my radio. I'm trying to not wake up and pick my phone up immediately, but maybe I need to change it from a news channel, because I heard my friends. 3 of them, actually, a couple of callers in, and then James. I didn't hear James till after I'd been on, actually, I think. Yeah, because I didn't know at the time that JSO, it wasn't a JSO action. I too had not read the thread, their tweet thread all the way through. But I said I'd have sacked him. Now, that's reverse psychology, I guess, if you want to get all push about it, but I haven't trained. I'm sick of them encouraging violence on our streets. We face troubling times. Do you really want to be part of the messaging that says if you lose your temper, you can hurt people who are irritating you? Or do you want to be part of the call for cooperation, for accepting that, it's going to be a bit troubling to get a grip of the mess? We can do it together, working together, or we can keep putting it off, Like, serious question. If there were serious food shortages, how do you think our current government would handle that? Am I completely mad to be worried that Suella Braverman would send our Met Police to Morrison's with machine guns? That's like media stuff. They're little alliterations. It's greasy, it's horrible, but in those spaces we get such a short time. We're just trying to provoke an emotional response, because it's not set up to have an honest debate, right? They wanted that question answered. So, and the staff are really lovely. I can't say how lovely they are, and I'm not trying to cause harm or make anyone feel like shit. I am just trying to explain why I don't mind going on national morning telly and looking like a nut, as long as my family understand, and they do now. And yeah. So I got that call, I listened, and I'm feeling quite guilty, but I'm thinking JSO are not claiming this action. I checked a couple of chats, I couldn't see that anybody knew or that she was, and I've just been feeling really angry. I'm really angry. I can't deny that part of me was thinking, fuck it, I want to tell people that it is all right that we feel angry and that we have got to take responsibility back from them. I don't care if they try and make me look stupid. Can I make a couple of punchy phrases and just see what happens? But I was feeling guilty, so I checked with the person who had been dropped. I won't say the name, I don't know if you'd mind. I don't think you would, but anyway. And they were fine, and I checked with my mum. And she was like, as long as you'll be okay. She means for mental health. You know, I am depressed, I am anxious, but so we talked about it and she gave me some tips. I didn't get to say when, because it did really go off script, but I think that was down to her balls, not me, but we'll get there. So I decided to do it, and it wasn't until I got an Uber confirmation, and yes, chew on that for am I a hypocrite, because I certainly did. I got a car, a taxi there and back that the studio pays for. Oh, thanks so much. Both the taxi drivers were just so really lovely. Really helped them. I think of it as that, functioning frightened rabbit. I was anxious, but yeah, and they really helped. I've lost my thread, haven't I? So I spent the night before, what I thought was I might get like 3 shots at saying things. You need a like kind of punchy opening, something to grab attention. Lovely Jamie Kelsey Fry helped me lots. He's like, picture, this is just entertainment. I'll be talking about mascara or something completely irrelevant after you, and to them it's just a job. And I didn't understand that until I'd been in it, but I do now. So it's like, so that first sentence that I did get out, I totally practiced in my head over and over and over. And I had Googled who I was going up against, because it was meant to be a debate between me and Konstantin, but we'll get to that bit. So Konstantin is building a reputation on a talk he did with, I think it was at university. I do what Cambridge University, I think. I follow them on YouTube and listen, and it, I was planning to want to shock Konstantin into silence, right? Because I'm up for the right to offend, but I think there's also a responsibility with that. And again, no shade being cast, right? We're all part of this. It's a gig for him, and the studios wouldn't invite him in if he didn't have an angle, right? You've got to understand that they're not looking to have conversations that reach resolutions. It is what it is. So no shade, and I'm saying that because I hope, okay, you won't hate me for not for dehumanising you. I wasn't thinking of you in that room. Or even really before. I was trying to throw you off from the moment I met you, and that feels greasy and horrible, and afterwards you were upset, and I would have been too, but I would like to have a chat. It's all horrible, isn't it? So my first opening gambit, because what happens, right? I'm not telling it chronologically. What happens is you get, it's like a script. They make a script, so everybody knows beforehand. So they told me Konstantin is going to say this, this and this. What will you say in return? And I'll be honest, I'm sorry, because I really, really, really liked you, the lady that, and I really enjoyed our conversation, but I wasn't being honest. I'm not seeing this as a space for honest debates. the people who've gone to prison for this trusted me to treat it like an action. And it feels really uncomfortable, you know, because I am trying to be totally myself while having this defensive wall up, because I know, it's like, you know, I know I'm going to sit on the motorway. I know I'm going to stick my hand to this court in a courtroom. It's none of it is nice. Anyway, so it puts me in a really uncomfortable place, because I want to be genuine with this lady, but I don't want to tell her exactly what I'm going to say, because so what I was going to say, can I still remember? Was throw Kay's words back at him. You say feelings don't matter as much as the truth. And the truth is, if any other gang in Britain were responsible for killing 330,000 of our most vulnerable, they'd be in prison. But because they're MPs, they're throwing more posh parties. So I can't believe you're going to tell me Georgie Boy's feelings are more important than a bit of confetti being thrown, right? I didn't expect to get to the end of it, and I didn't know until like quite near the end if Konstantin was going before me or if I'd go first. I was thinking, you know, if I go first, I'll have to say, I can't believe you're going to tell me. If he goes first, I can't believe you said so. You know, it's pretty horrible. So I was up to like 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, it's like a jewel of words. It's horrible. I really don't like it. So that was my first gambit, and I have digressed, right? And I think I want to leave Kay there, because I can't read what he said. He wants to share something that he found interesting about their reaction to something I said, but it's behind a paywall. And I just can't, Kay. If you want me to know why I'm genuinely interested, and I would like to chat with you, and you said, you know, you don't want to make it personal, it's a little bit patronising, it's not the poor woman's fault, they've made her look nuts. Like I didn't know. No, I didn't understand what is going on here. You know, and I'm not saying the way I choose to approach it is right, I don't know. But I do know I've had some good conversations with many people off of it, so yeah, so I'm sorry, Kay, and everybody for not like being completely myself. And I know I was walking in there and I hadn't been fully honest on that, and I want to leave that there. But Susanna and Ed, I am going to say stuff that I feel like I maybe shouldn't, but it's nothing really horrible, and it is definitely the truth. And I just want you two to get on board with like actually talking, to realise the harm you're doing and maybe you don't know, maybe you're just trusting like the MPs do, the top lines that you're getting, and it won't be the other people's fault, because they'll lose their jobs if you give you nice stuff. I mean, I've had journalists, young men, there's one young man in particular I'm thinking of, works for the Sun, outside Parliament, and it was mostly good vibes. It was that day, that young lad Jamie was there, he heard that, and he was like, yeah, but my editors don't want this, they just want, and he was really struggling to find what they wanted, which was somebody who was furious with what was going on at Parliament on a Wednesday. Yeah, it's nasty, it's got to stop. I don't approve of it, so I'm going to call it out. So I got dropped off by my Uber. Go on, chew on how hypocritical that is. I know, it's all nuts, isn't it? And then you just meet lovely people for a while. It was my third time in those specific studios, and the interview that I did on this morning was completely different vibes. And I just really wanted to honour Lou and Sherilyn and Bethany and all the other wonderful people who want these proper conversations. So that was quite a nice. So the 3 ladies in the makeup room, I can't see, I'm completely blind without my glasses, but I recognised them when I walked in, and we just, yeah, they really put me at ease. We had a nice chat about kids and how difficult it is, you know, balancing work and family, and, you know, how difficult it's made. Does it need to be that difficult? But they were really lovely. They call them runners and researchers and stuff. Everybody's just really nice, and yeah, Pete was in the green room. He's a nice chap. And Kay and I were sat there. You get your makeup done and a coffee. It was all quite busy. I saw Andy and Lorraine, couldn't help myself. Hello. So just walking in, both really friendly. Hello. It's like, yeah, it's a nice vibe for the people who are working backstage. I think it's they make it as nice as I possibly can, which I really appreciate. And then you go through into the studio, you know, and it's busy, and I'm just breathing, trying to be calm, and you run through the script again. This is what you're saying. I'm thinking, I'm trying to answer and be genuine with this lovely lady, and like running, just keep running that top line from my head. Gosh, you're not going to get long. Just try and get that out. And then you go through the doors into the studio and told where to sit. Now, as I was sitting down, Ed was humming away to himself and so kind of go hello and then ignore you. And he was lowering the theme tune. I can't remember it. And anyway, they were saying that it ends on a law and it needs to end on a law, like a high note. And she done it, didn't really look interested. She looked like she wanted to go, oh, just shut up. But it's after that, so it's all like my heart is studying, right? Fuck, I'm about to be made to look a right idiot. Can I hold my own? Can I get out these few things I want to get out? And I'm mostly focused on Konstantin, right? I've been read the script. It's going to be Konstantin and me, then Konstantin and me, then maybe a bit of Susanna and Ed. And Konstantin says his thing, and I know the rough outline, but oh, my heart's just studying. I'm just thinking, don't freeze in that way. Just breathe. And I did it, I think. I got out... yeah, but I had been thrown off. I didn't expect to say I'd have slapped him until my second one. But it felt like I kind of had to respond there because the question, the way Susanna jumped to it. Sorry, trying to remember exactly how the interview went. I've only watched it back once anyway. It doesn't matter that I don't remember it specifically because this is my feelings, and they say that about the truth, don't they? There's everybody sees it slightly different. So then it's back on me, and I'm going to say, or I'm wanting to say, thinking that I've got to pass it back to Konstantin, right? So I think Ed's interrupted me at this point, hasn't he? I said, that's right. So I was saying, oh yeah, Georgie boy, he's responsible for this and that, and I'm trying to pass it back to Konstantin, but I felt like I kept getting interrupted. I'm a bit confused. I'm like, what's your bone here? And talked to a couple of people. Yeah, Zoe Cohen is just, you know, she puts herself through this so often. Thank you for, she's like, him and Ed and George were like really good mates. And I hadn't Googled Ed. It was really late. I'd only looked at Konstantin really. And I'll be honest, I did want to challenge Susanna. That's been eating at me since Liam's last time. I hadn't really thought about Ed at all. God, that's really bad, like, shame on me for not doing my homework, but I wasn't even sure. He was definitely Labour. I thought he might have been Lib Dem, but I didn't factor him in. My mistake. And somebody else suggested maybe if I'd have said climate delay, he wouldn't have been so niggly, but I said climate denial. Now, to me, if you were happy to take part in delay, then you're in denial. And, you know, I just want these people to take some responsibility within themselves, even if you don't want to do it in public, within yourselves. Have a look back. 97, you said to me, Ed, all those wasted years. I'm furious about it, and I am desperate to hold to non-violence. And you had no intention of getting to, like, genuinely hear what I'm about. You know, I'm your villain of that small segment. You'd had Owen Jones on for, you know, the reasonable debate. So why give you what you wanted? So I was trying to pass it back to Konstantin with, so I'm just checking my notes. because I can't remember the whole thing now. I've been asleep for hours. It was knackering. I've got, would I personally do that? So that's wasn't going to be my second, because I started off there. I wanted to say to Konstantin that we've got things in common. You've been banned from speaking at ASOS, and I know it's SOAS. So that was, the media needs to make me look stupid. So I thought, if I get that wrong, that's their, thing. Or maybe it wouldn't be, but, anyway. So we've got things in common. You've been banned from speaking there, and I'm banned from every court in England and Wales. Where do we draw these lines on free speech? Are you actually upset about confetti? It may have been Auntie Hilda. Now, I'm fully aware at this point I'm going to be battling for time. If anything, it's not going to be nice. And I'd spoke to the person who was going to be on, and they're really genuinely interested as well in, we see places where we cross over, and I don't, I feel quite bad for not, anyway, so that's where I'm thinking it's going to go. But we got really caught up, didn't we, on, and I was a bit scatty, and I did throw Julia Hartley-Brewer out there, right? Because I'm out of practice in a way, maybe, and I got caught up in playing their game, right? I allowed them to distract me. Before going on with Richard, every day practicing, and there were some really fun sessions, because it's really uncomfortable. We were trying to break our own taboos about not answering questions exactly how people expect you to, and going for emotion over facts, because I'm not trying to be the world's greatest debater or an MP. I'm playing a greasy game where I'm going for a bit of emotion, something that if you're doing the ironing or pottering around in the background you think, what the hell is going on? And then you choose to look into it a bit further, and a lot of us are hurting, getting involved and knowing that you're not, anyway. Don't waffle off. So then it's I wanted to talk about being the messenger and what does shoot the messenger mean. But so then the only things that I've had to remind myself is what's the last thing that I want to remember. Well, I know I'm not capable of remembering loads of stuff. I've found that if I can just get that first paragraph in my head, and it was the same for, if I'm disobeying in the dock or doing Zoom speeches and stuff, I can't write very well, I can't remember very much, so I just can give myself pointers and try to remember the intentions. So my intentions of going in was I wanted to challenge this. Are the media calling for violence on people? Do we want that? I want other people at home to think, it's got to stop. Is there only violence towards people? Should we be doing that? So we want to prepare, we want to improve our democracy. Not one of them could believe we'd stop. And that's in my mind, and remembering all these COVID inquiry and things, and there's one going on at the moment, and before that Matt Hancock, Dominic Cummings, Boris Johnson, it was at least 3 hours each they all did. So I'm just trying to remind myself of my intentions, and I just, all of what I thought was going to happen went out the window, and I kind of found myself battling back on ground that and for me, I met Lord Bird in that green room, and was cheeky enough to interrupt and tell him that he's one of my heroes. We had a quick chat. We were both getting rushed on with the show, but he gave me his card, and like I said, my mum's okay, so it's all good with me. Was that a great debate? No, but I never thought it was going to be. Did we spark any conversation that is more positive than the drivel that they wanted it to be? And again, no shade, right? I am angry at the way it's all set up. I think it's not constructive, right? We are in, quite frankly, horrible messes. I'm not going to lie to you, and Konstantin wants these answers. What about the 1%? What is your exact payback, right? I do know my stuff, and we could have a more, intellectual wanking over all this kind of stuff. But my intentions, my purpose in taking these actions, where I think we really need to get to, is we have to accept we don't have much more than talking to each other. We have to decide if our intention going forward is going to be this Hollywood plot style, if civilized society collapses, we all start fighting over the medicines and the food, and it gets all... Or we go with what we've actually seen, right? The pandemic happened, we know how people want to behave, what our natural instincts are. We are more than prepared to stop and talk and figure out what needs doing. And the government hampered us, right? They made things worse on so many levels. We have to take some responsibility for that too. Did we let Boris down as badly as he let us down? These systems that we are going along with are designed to give us a leaders, right? That's what they think. They think you need inequality, and that they've got it sussed for the schooling and the ways of bringing up the kids that will give us good leaders. It's broken. You've harmed your children, in my opinion, and your children are harming my children. I want my children to stand up for themselves, and I want all the mums to rise up, because the women in Rojava can tell you, if civilised society collapses, we're going to pick up the guns and fight for our kids. And their intentions and principles, they've created civilised society in a war zone, and their foundational principles of forgiveness and grassroots democracy, you get the mums and the grandmas involved. So, yeah, I mean, I want to say thanks to Anne-Marie. Look, my family really have my back, and I love them. I had a quick look. Thanks for having my back. It's horrible, right? It is really uncomfortable. I really appreciate you watching if you did, because it is. It's not, two nice ones I've done. One on GB News, the presenters were just too knackered, I think. It was a lunchtime segment. They were thinking about drinks. I was knackered. I'd come straight from Parliament. And the one with Sherilyn, which was, they're just, I know they're a wonderful man. I truly do love a good man. But we've removed mothers, all these caring roles, they don't factor in GDP when they're sort of telling you that we've got to protect the economy, and, all the interest rates are scary. It's bullshit, and it's really scary to think this thing that, I'd never really thought about it until a couple of years ago. We've got to protect the economy, we've got to grow the economy. Listen to Kate Royth, right? That's the culty thinking. We can see it, right? It's not about being a bleeding heart. You can see it. Oh gosh, I'm really tired now. I've got my little wrap-up thing. It's my eldest. Always reminds me, what's purpose, what you leave? And this is tough. If I haven't made sense, please ask me. Genuinely will answer any genuine questions. And if you're struggling, the XR, there's those XR classes that I can't recommend enough. Now, I haven't been involved in anything. I've been on this great long break, but I'm sure all their back stuff is there on YouTube. I know that. And things like the XR, the DNA of XR, understanding why people are prepared to run away from home to sit on the motorway, and all of the support that went into, I didn't wake up and go, I'm going to do it, right? It was lots of what felt like really hippie, uncomfortable stuff, and practicing active listening. That's another thing. There's a book called Active Hope, and then active listening. It doesn't just help you hear what other people are saying. It helps you understand what you yourself think. If you're in a place of listening, and we all do it, right? This is what I was doing in GMB. I was employing my, can I hear what's going on, and fire back, and you know, forget the taboos about not talking over people, and, you know, how common I sound when I talk, and that some people, you know, that it's uncomfortable. That's not how I want to be or how I am in real life. You know, I really believe in active listening. I've only been doing it for a few years because it helped me. Yeah, if you stop and pause and then think, what do I want to say? You might realise it's goodbye, because wait, why am I talking is another good one. No, please reach out, talk to me, each other.